Story 1. Not returning their grocery cart, not using their turn signal, boarding before their group is announced. Basically, any seemingly trivial thing that keeps things in order. The decline of a civilization begins with the individual. Story 2. Ignorance, entitlement, belligerence, greed above all else, though. Maybe growing up poor had too big of an impact on me, but I have a hard time conceptualizing true greed. Everyone is greedy with a basket of fries once or twice in their life, but true greed, the greed that makes housing too expensive for so many, keeps food off the tables and medicine out of the bodies of those in need, true greed makes me feel really real hate. Story 3. The fact that we hate each other for no reason. We start wars over trivial things and cause plagues and famines. We abuse animals and destroy the planet through deforestation and other harmful actions. We even abuse and torture each other just for being who we are. I sometimes feel like an alien observing humans being chaotic, and I think to myself, what is happening? Why are humans like this? Feels like we live in a dystopian society. Story 4. I do not hate most people, but I will make exceptions to my rule for unkindness, racism, bigotry, or intolerance. Everyone is out trying to live the version of life that they want, and it is hard enough to do without others tearing you down. Just be cool and let others be. If you dislike or do not approve, then just stay away, but let people be who they want to be and expect that they will give you the same courtesy. Story 5. People who pry, people who try to peer in, people who are nosy, people who try to tell you that you are something or that your life is something. Like, no, and this is why I keep a huge distance from other people. Story 6. When they vote against my interests as well as their own because they are too foolish to understand what is going on. Like, if a rich person votes for the candidate who will clearly help the rich at the expense of everyone else, they're greedy, but at least they're not dumb. I almost get that. But then someone making $30,000 a year votes for the harm the poor party, and it really just makes me hate everyone involved in the brainwashing of that person, including them. Ignorance is not an excuse when all the information in the world is available at your fingertips. Story 7. One thing I hate is people insulting others with different styles and having to follow what other people do. Let people be unique and not hate on it. I see this so much lately. Story 8. I hate people who see someone different and unique and try everything in their power to make them normal. They bully them and make them feel bad to the point where they lose confidence in their true self because they learn it's not welcome in society, thanks to those people. I hate the people who humiliate others, film it, and put it on the internet like, look at this freak. And because of those people, I have to hide who I am because I don't want to end up as the internet's laughingstock. I hate the people who decide to fight the ones who are vulnerable and different because they know they are mostly defenseless. They take pride in fighting them. I hate the people who put hateful comments on videos. It's simple. If you don't like it, click not interested and move on with your day. But no, they put them everywhere and end up with more of the content they hate on their recommendations page as karma. Story 9. One time I let a girl I barely knew borrow my bag, and she gave it back dirty with trash in it. Disrespecting my stuff is disrespecting me, and it makes me dislike you. Story 10. It makes me hate people in the sense that we collectively as a society dislike lifting each other up and just settle to do the complete opposite and tear each other down. All we really need is each other. Story 11. I am a very tolerant, compassionate, and understanding person. I find things people do annoying, disappointing, even tragic, but usually I can see past the behavior to the broken human behind it. Except for intentional cruelty, and especially cruelty to children. Story 12. Especially being rude towards animals or pets. I mean, you can opt to stay away from animals if you don't like them. That's fine. But hurting or, showing disgust just because you are not an animal person is so bad. Story 13. Because they are insufferable pieces of filth, they think they know everything, but they are just dumb as F*******. Their prejudice is insanely high, and they often break their ethics and morals. They are lazy, unhelpful, and ungrateful. Story 14. Judgmental people who don't see their own faults or acknowledge that they aren't perfect either. People who get angry over trivial things and people who hold grudges over trivial things. Story 15. I hate that they reflect everything I don't like about myself, But then it gives me an opportunity to forgive myself for these imperfections by treating the person kindly. Story 16. At this point, people are just lost causes because they just like to be who they are and don't have to care about anything. Aliens from any planet would be better people on Earth than humans we call ourselves people. Would love to enjoy life alone. Story 17. If they constantly talk badly about everyone, I understand that a person will always have someone they'll speak negatively about. When it's everyone, likely literally everyone, it's a huge red flag to me. Story 18. Unreflective behavior. All people should learn this. Many bad things in this world are happening because so many people are not aware of the traumatic effects that influence their behavior. Trauma sounds like a big word, but it can include small things too. For example, a parent who is overworked and can't give the attention they should to their kids, for them to learn and develop in a healthy way. Trauma encompasses all things you should have learned but haven't, and therefore you lack the right tools to react in a grown-up way, often falling back on childlike behaviors and being unable to break out. Story 19. Being so stupid that when the facts are laid out in front of them, you're still wrong. And only the Bible has the answers. It is a book of moral stories that has been updated throughout the centuries. Story 20. Nobody knows how to move with a purpose while out in public anymore. Granted, there are places like museums where you should go slow and take in the sights. But if you're the one just puttering around Walmart giving me a dirty look because I'm going around you, straight to jail. Story 21. The way they linger in the market aisles with their carts at 45-degree angles, and the way they stare you down if you dare to escape their trap. Hate is a strong word. I hate the market, not the people. Story 22. People posting Twitter screenshots of their response to a celebrity with some dim-witted empty insult, thinking they got them and getting upvoted to the front page of this godforsaken website by other morons who think they're saving the world with their virtual protesting. You are scum. You make no difference. I hate you. Story 23. Stupidity and ignorance, especially when truth and facts are right in their face, but they refuse to listen and would just rather stay being an idiot. Story 24. People who just destroy public toilets with their urine and feces or vomit. Nothing is worse than needing to go and finding feces all over the seat and back wall. Story 25. Number 1 answer. Noise. People are noisy everywhere. Most never learn the difference between inside and outside voices, and not to use outside voices when you are standing right next to doors and windows. Now let's not talk about noise from cars. That's an order of magnitude worse. Story 26. Racism, partiality, cruelty, jealousy, fakeness, showing off, fraud, dishonesty, and everything else that makes someone doubt their own self, hate themselves, or demotivate them. Story 27. People age 35 and older, it seems to me, are the most disgusting, horrible, and evil kind of people. I am almost 18 years old, and I want to say that no one has ever affected me like people age 35 and older. They never like anything, they are always dissatisfied. They think that if I am younger than them, then I am always obliged to them. Sometimes I even have to do work for them because either their child is sick or they have things to do. People aged 40 and older are even worse. They always interfere where they do not need to. For example, my father can freely take my phone and read my entire Chrome history. And until I stopped him, he did not calm down. People aged 35 and older have alien views on life. I will never find a common language with them. Story 28. The overwhelming sense of entitlement. These days, I have contact with upwards of 500 people a day, and many of them make me question if we deserve to survive. Story 29. People who don't seem to have the capacity to care about other people who aren't them and theirs. And by caring, I mean potentially giving up opportunity or outcome for them and theirs to help others. Story 30. People driving loud cars or motorbikes. Must be getting old. But really, why should people inside their own homes have to hear someone's loud exhaust? How small does a person's ego have to be to make sure people hear them? Story 31. The fact is that the more there are, the lower the average intelligence quotient they have. As individuals, people are interesting, intelligent, creative, and aware, but then they start flocking together and all of a sudden, all of that is out the window, and they suddenly turn into non-player characters with no free will or critical thinking. They just follow along with whatever comes their way. Story 32. Intellectual dishonesty, lazy thinking, and intellectual vanity. No one is forcing you to have an opinion, and if you can't reasonably defend your views, then we might as well say you don't meaningfully hold those views. Story 33. Being loud. When they talk loudly, laugh loudly, breathe loudly, play music loudly, have loud cars, etc. Like, who do you think you are? Be silent, defeated, and hopeless like the rest of us. Story 34. Lack of empathy. Also, when they litter, I hate it. I see so many people just throw their trash on the floor like nothing. Like, dude, there's a trash can right there. Throw it away. Story 35. I can't simply decide whether or not I hate someone based on what I've seen them do or heard them say. In my mind, it's all a matter of whether or not they are aware of the things they say and do and are willing to learn. It's the not seeing when you're bad for me, you know? I feel like everyone should ask people like, hey, are you aware of the reason I dislike you? If so, I don't dislike you if you see that you've got to change. Haha. But yes, I'm a strong believer that people's actions and words don't give you an accurate picture, you know? Story 36. Just about everything. The human race is a virus. Anymore, there are fewer and fewer good people out there. I am trying to make sure I raise a couple of good ones, but the more I see, the worse it gets. I try to be a good person and lead by example, but it gets harder and harder every day. Story 37. People think they are the center of the world, not realizing that they are not the only people on the planet. Rudeness and having too high of an ego come from thinking they are better than everyone else. I will do my utmost to avoid being around people. Obviously, I have to work and do not have the luxury of working from home all the time, but aside from work and very rare occasions going out, I would much rather stay home alone. Story 38. Their mere existence is no cruelty. The biggest issue, and I'm sorry to say this, is that British people are very guilty of thinking they are funny with what they call banter, which is genuinely monotonous. It's not only the British, but especially them, that I have noticed this with. Story 39. Well, most people look out for children, but children somehow turn into animals at school and pick on people who are different. Whatever that instinct is, forget that. Story 40. People's ability to not deal with their own pain and take it out on others. I mean, everyone or at least most people are guilty of that to some extent. For the people who continually do it, it's okay to be depressed. Just do it on your own. Story 41. I have started to stop hating people. Honestly, it's not their fault entirely for being stupid, ignorant, or incapable, so I don't hate them. For cruelty, bullying, resentment, and all other bad things about people, I also don't hate them either. I could be one of them if my childhood was different. I don't hate them, though dealing with them is another thing. Story 42. Suddenly stopping in front of me in public places. I mean, I may be strong on this. I do move on after it quickly. However, at the time, I am so annoyed. Story 43. Being rude when someone is genuinely just trying to be helpful. Just being rude unnecessarily in general. By all means, if they deserve it, go ahead, but there's no reason to be that way to everyone. Story 44. When poor people support the narrative that wealthy people are rich because they earned it, when really they are stealing wages from the people that fund civilization, those people are the reason the wealthy remain safe and can play their divide and conquer games. These people are the bottom of the barrel. Story 45. Prejudice against pretty much anything, whether it's racism, ageism, gender-based, or it's dogs, cats, frogs. If a person hates loving things, I hate them right back. I understand that we can't let scorpions, black widow spiders, or rats move into our homes, but that isn't what I'm talking about. Story 46. Excessive noise of all kinds. Loud talking in public, loud exhausts, burnouts, loud music or any music on public transport, plastic wrappers in cinemas, breathing or microphones in online games, people who come to my desk and either can't get to the point of their conversation or worse, don't have a point to the conversation and just make small talk. Basically, anyone making more noise than needed. Story 47. Bullying, lying, self-righteousness, cruelty, holier-than-thou attitude, sob story scammers, entitlement, taking advantage of kindness, bragging, manipulation, cheating, stealing. Story 48. Feeling powerless makes you hate people. It's all about your self-concept. No one makes you do or feel anything. Ever tried to return love to someone who just isn't your type? Impossible. When you hate something, it's because you associate a strong sense of fear and the powerlessness to change it. Story 49. People that use me or make me the exception and bullies. Had way too many people take advantage of me in the past. They got what they needed, then screwed me over. Mostly in the workplace. I was bullied in school. Nobody helped, so I learned to hate the bully as well as those that should have protected me. Now, I go after bullies. These days, it's not the physical bullies, but the ones that abuse mentally and emotionally. I've gotten in trouble at work standing up to bullies that others didn't want to confront in fear it would cause problems. Story 50. When I ask a tourist or a foreigner where they are from, they will answer with the name of a state in the United States. Like, okay, you're from America, just say that. You think everyone knows everything about the United States?